everybody's favorite phrase, I was wrong about the rate cut. I definitely did not expect a 50 basis point cut. I had assumed it was 25, and pretty much everybody I've talked to out there is thinking the same thing. So what does that mean? Why did we get a 50 basis point cut instead of 25? And we're going to dissect this a little bit today. I know I'm a little late to the party over here, but just in general, like, what happened? And so basically, when this happened, we saw a 50 point cut last Wednesday. And once it did, what happened to rates? They went up, not down, which is the inverse of what everybody kind of expected to happen. So the best way we can put it is what happened here with this rate cut is that most people, almost anybody in this business and every business, did not expect a 50 basis point cut. Now, we saw there was a probability of it based on statistics, but we knew if you look back to 2020 and what happened with COVID, when they just shot all the rates down, what happened with that? They over-exaggerated, which basically, if you put the entire Fed in a nutshell, what do? They overcompensate every single time. And that's what they did with rates, raising rates. They left them high too long. They didn't drop them down. And now they had to do the same thing the opposite direction. They had to overcompensate for what they messed up in the first place. So what does this look like moving forward? So now obviously, basically, the term you hear used is they did a 50 basis point cut to slow the curve or to even out the slope, where the unemployment has been a huge issue here. So when they cut the rates, what they're trying to do is bring unemployment back up because it went up a little too high. They're trying to bring it back down. And basically the economy is on its way to a recession. So the point of the 50 basis point cut as opposed to 25 is basically to try to keep the economy going. And so we don't actually hit a recession, which if you talk to most people out there, we're kind of already in one. I mean, if you look at inflation, you look at prices of everything, we're in a place where people have to stop spending. Credit card debt just hit a huge new high, and there's just really not a whole lot of room to grow. So I don't say this to be a Debbie Downer, but the point of this is right now is actually a good time to buy. And with this 50 basis point cut, because of this trajectory, what's going to be happening in the future? Now, we already know there's two more Fed announcements. One is going to be in November, one in December of this year. Because we saw the 50 basis point cut up front, unless we see some major changes in the economy, most likely we will see another 25 basis point cut in November and another one in December. I hope I'm wrong again. We could see another 50 basis point cut in either one of those, but most likely we'll see at least 50 basis points cut total over the next two by the end of the year, which means rates are going to come down. So with that being said, what I wanted to get into today was my personal predictions on this market. I didn't think it was 50 basis points. And then obviously I was wrong on this one being 50 basis points. I honestly think that was a mistake. I think that gave a little too much insight into what's happening, which is so does the bank. Obviously that's the reason we saw it come up after that 50 basis point cut, not down. Because they let us in on a little secret they were trying to keep to themselves, is that the economy is in a worse off state than it really should be. So what's going to happen here is most likely we'll have these two 25 basis point cuts, one in November, one in December. So we'll probably see rates a little bit down before the end of the year. Now we'll probably have a couple next year. So we'll see kind of what that does. And where this has been taking us since last week, I've had countless people reach out about refinancing already. And the rates aren't even crazy low right now. They're just low enough that to a lot of people, we have a lot of people in the last year and a half have bought with rates in the definitely 7%, which is crazy. Those people, a lot of times it will make sense. I was actually able to lock in a rate a couple days ago with a VA. They were at a 7 and now they're in a 5. In that 5. And with where we're going to see rates going over the next year, it'll probably make sense for them to refinance another 8 to 10 months. And it's one of those things that we don't necessarily push that. My goal is not to you how many times I can. It's to get you in the best rate and the best home that you can be in. I want you to be the best setup. But with what they're saving monthly, doing it now through then, even with a little bit added to the loan for wrapping in the closing costs, they're going to be almost $450 a month for the next 10 months. That's over $4,000 they're saving that they get to keep in their pocket by doing a refinance now and later. So sometimes if it makes sense in your situation, it can make sense to refi twice in the next year or 3 times if rates keep going down after that. Now, market predictions to what I think is actually going to happen this next year is I think we're going to see these 2 basis point cuts this year. I think we're going to see another 2 to 3 next year. And then what's going to happen after that? I don't know. But my assumption on where rates are going to be sitting in 2025, I'd assume by mid 2025, we're going to see somewhere around the low 5%, low 5 to mid 5, possibly even FHA and VA down being the 4. I'd be surprised if conventional dropped into the 4 quite yet. I think it's going to be a little more unstable there, but I think we're going to see some good times ahead with the housing market. And I think with that being said, we are going to see a lot more activity, both on the listing side and on the buying side. So, which can be good if you're on the buying side. If there's more listings, then obviously you're going to have more options. And hopefully there's going to be a less competitive market. But if you look at history, what happened in 2020 and 2021, there's still a lot of people in the 2 and 2.5% interest rates that aren't going to want to sell at the 4% or the 5% to buy a new home. So I think we are going to see more buyers in a more competitive market in this next year than we have these last 2 years. I think we're going to see something similar, not nearly as extreme as what we saw during COVID. I think house prices are going to be coming up because even though there are listings hitting the market, there's a lot of people where it doesn't make sense for them to move. So what you're going to see next year is most likely rates are going to be down low 5s. And we're going to see a bit more inventory. It's also going to get even more competitive, especially as the school year ends. That's always a huge kicker for when people start moving. The school year ends, you're going to have a lot more buyers, specifically first-time buyers getting in the market. You're going to have a lot more people just kind of moving around that felt couldn't move for the last 2 years. You know, talk about the 4 Ds in real estate. You have death, divorce, and diamonds. So the people that are moving, the people that are having babies, the people that are getting married, the people that are getting divorced, the people that die. There's going to be houses on the market mainly for those reasons still. And there's going to be some other people that actually move because they want to move. But a lot of what we're going to see is this transition through over the next year. As these rates come, the market will get a little bit more competitive, even with more inventory. Because right now we're at such low inventory. So that's my 2 cents, just like it always is. You think I'm wrong? Tell me down below. Love to hear it. I want to hear your thoughts on this and what you think is going to happen. Because I mean, honestly, it's just good to talk about. It's good to beat up and think through. So, and if you haven't yet, go check out some of my other videos. Thanks for watching this channel. I appreciate it. This is what I use as my public service announcements to get out there and get in front of more people. So hope you enjoy it. Hope you learned something. Let me know what you think.